Hello and welcome to Salford Now. I'm Grace Clark.
And I'm Adam Gooseman. Coming up on today's show. Today is election day to decide your local councillor. Polls have opened around Salford, which has seen residents heading to the voting booths to have their say.
A cleaning group from Salford is powering community spirit to keep our environment green.
Comedian Dom Jolly is touring his show Holiday Snaps and is stopping off at Salford Quays' Lowry Theatre along the way. Our reporter Owen Adams will have more later in the show.
Polls opened at 7 this morning and will remain open until 10 p.m. tonight as Salford decides their local councillors. There are voting stations all across the region, and to find out where yours is, our reporter Stephen Hayward is here to tell us more.
Election day is here and we've got the rundown on some of the polling stations.
Salford has a littering.
Please take note of your screens as these addresses flashing up could apply to you, and you can of course check out our Salford Now website to find out your local stations. Polls will be closing at 10 p.m. tonight, and from then on your votes will be counted and checked before an announcement is made, typically in the early hours of tomorrow morning. If you are not able to make time to vote today, you will have hopefully applied for a postal vote, and these can still be handed in to your local polling stations until 5 p.m.
Now we go live to Stephen, who is at the Water Sports Centre at the Quays. Take it away, Stephen.
Yes, I'm here outside the Water Sports Centre at Salford Quays, one of the 2 polling stations available to residents here in the area, with your other available station located at Ordsall Hall. Now, there are 5 parties here in the city vying to be elected, with the councillors that are elected for each ward in Salford expected to represent their local area and residents, and contribute to the development of local policies for areas such as social care, housing and education. Nationally, there are over 4,300 seats being contested, but here in Salford, 20 seats are available to the candidates. Despite there being 5 parties across the city, Only 3 are standing for election here in the Keys, with Lucy Staniforth of the Green Party, Phil Treesden of the Labour Party and Alex Warren for the Liberal Democrats. To find out and keep up with the results of today's vote, make sure to check out our website www.salfordnow.co.uk where we will be keeping you posted about the announcements right across the city. That's all for now. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Stephen. Now, Clean Up the Keys is a litter picking group run by Alex Warren, and they're a team who come together to remove all kinds of rubbish, from plastic bottles to trolleys. Members of the group want us to start treating our streets like home. Jack Holmes reports.
Election day is here and we've got the rundown.
Salford has a littering problem and it needs community spirit to keep it clean. There are regular clean-ups around Salford, just like the one here in Clippers Quay. The last saw 2 tonnes of rubbish being shifted out of Manchester Ship Canal, with a tonne being picked up today.
Today is all about ending plastic pollution where we live and creating a green city that we all want to live in. I started doing this kind of thing way back when, during the pandemic. I basically saw a swan eating a piece of polystyrene whilst I was on my lunch break, and I was like, this has got to stop. But no one was doing anything about it. Local government wasn't doing anything. Local businesses weren't doing anything. So I thought, well, it's on the community to do it, or start the conversation and deal with it. You know, direct action, and make sure we get some actual products and results.
If you drop litter in Salford, you could face an £150 fine. Police community support officers are able to issue fixed penalty notices to anyone seen dropping litter in the street. Drop litter can last a very long time. For example, a plastic bottle can last indefinitely, plastic bags lasting 10 to 20 years. Even biodegradable items such as an apple core can last up to 2 years. But it wasn't typical items of litter you would think of that were picked up today. Shoes, footballs and a trolley, just to name a few. The turnout for this pickup shows that people want to help one another to create a clean area for where they live, and ultimately, us humans are the only way that can be achieved.
Would you leave rubbish around your own home is the main thing, and if not, why are you leaving it in the streets outside where you live? I think, yeah, it's important that we play our part for what the mess we're making, and if there isn't a bin, just take it home with you, put it in the bin at home.
Litter is an issue that can affect many in the area. If you're out and about in Salford and you have a bit of litter, just bin it. By doing so, you're helping make Salford a cleaner, greener and safer place to live. Jack Holmes, Salford Now.
Students across the country were affected by the pandemic and feel like they did not get the learning experience that they had expected. The Office of the Independent Adjudicator said that over £1.3 million was given to students in compensation. Some students are upset that they are still dealing with online learning despite the COVID restrictions being lifted. Ruby Sturgis reports.
Complaints from students in England and Wales about their university courses have reached a record high. Students nationwide had to adapt to online learning in 2020, and while some have returned to face-to-face, there's still many stuck on their screens.
It's more motivating going into lectures. 100%. We have missed out on a decent amount of the sort of like the practical side of things. Being able to do the labs this year and go in, we can see how important that is. Yeah.
Katie Stevenson is another Salford student who started studying Spanish this year, and she has had all her learning online this semester.
I feel like it did hinder my learning, definitely. My module teacher only saw me last week for the first time because it was my exam. It's just been really different to a class where we could speak and practice a language face to face, which especially for a language I think is what you need. I definitely think for next year and the years to come that the uni does need to change the way that it teaches certain classes online, and it needs to be really stopped because it's going to hinder people's learning in the future.
Despite the difficult circumstances, the university did adapt to students' needs. I spoke to academic support librarian Joanna Wilson.
There was lots of library support for finding and using information and developing good academic skills like academic writing that was already available as e-learning on our web pages. And so that was always available to students. But we moved our workshops the workshops that we offer to students to help them make the best of the library and the library services, we moved those online, and so students could book onto those. What was apparent, though, was that there was a significant number of students without access to good tech, and that clearly was a barrier. We increased our provision of laptops and increased the loan time that students could borrow them for.
Ruby Sturgis, Salford Now.
Now, Adam, we all know that Media City is renowned for media, of course, home to the BBC, ITV and, of course, Salford Now. But only recently has it taken one step closer to being known for its bagels. On our lunch break, Adam and I went down to check out Bagel, a new pop-up food van on the quayside, and we got to know the owner's inspiring story.
My name's Rick, the owner of Bagel Cheshire, which I set up in May of 2020, first lockdown, and we were part of the Van Gogh exhibition, which was running from October until January of last year, and it proved to be so successful that we were granted permission to come and stay for the rest of summer.
It's quite a new company then, so can you tell us a little bit, what made you get into doing bagels of all things?
Well, one of the things that I said back at the very beginning was I didn't really eat bagels before I set Bagel up, funnily enough, and I was in corporate sales 20 years and struggling with my mental health, a lot of deep depression, anxiety, and then lockdown hit, which took me even lower. I became isolated, I didn't want to leave the house, so my wife said, you know, why don't you just take a step back? So it was an opportunity to press the pause button and stop and reflect and think about what was important to me, rather than just chasing all the time, because I was just so busy. And I've always loved food, and I love to cook and entertain, and we just sat down one evening. It's like one of those things that you just don't really think about it. It came to us, and so it was like bagel. Okay, let's do bagel.
Let's do bagels
yeah,
then.
let's do bagels then. So, and yeah, the rest is history. We've been open for 4 days now. It's going really well. It's a different audience. Obviously, we've got a lot of people, local residents, businesses that are all coming down to see us.
What is the most popular bagel?
I would have said until I started introducing salt beef, it would be my brisket, which is I do a slow cooked beef brisket with mustard mayonnaise, or you can have it. Sometimes I do it with straight mustard and gherkins, and I do that on an onion bagel, but they're stacked. I had a customer that came the other day and came back to us purposely and said I didn't have to have dinner. So that's all good. That's what I'm here to do, is fill you up. I call it a bagel hug. So basically a bagel hug or a bagel coma, whatever it wants to put you into, you know, that kind of thing. I put all the love and passion into my bagels that I make them fresh every single morning. I'm up at 5:30 a.m. Now that I'm getting out, I want to be able to talk to people and connect with people, and if I can change someone's day and put a smile on their face, then that makes everything worthwhile to me. That's good. That's good to go.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
It really was a great space there. It's just opposite Dockhouse. There's music, it's good vibes, and we got chatting to Rick a little bit more as well, and he told us that actually men's mental health for him is his main priority. From his own experience, he's trying to, you know, encourage people, have a bagel, have a chat, which I just think is so inspiring, don't you think?
It was great to go down there, and the food was tasty. We even did try some of our own. Head over to our TikTok at Salford Now News to see what we thought. As mentioned earlier, comedian Dom Jolly is coming to Salford Quays with his new show. The Trigger Happy TV creator is thrilled to be bringing his show to Salford. Owen Adams has more.
If you're in Salford and want a night of entertainment, the Lowry Theatre is the place to go. Salford Quays is a landmark location for media and arts in the UK, so there's no wonder why so many want to perform at the iconic venue. And on the 22nd of May, bringing his new tour to the Lowry is comedian Dom Jolly.
I'm very excited. I'm a bit nervous because I did the Lowry. I've only done one other tour, and that was in 2011. I'd just come off I'm a Celeb. And I did the Lowry, and the first person I saw when I came out was Sean Ryder, just sitting in the front row, staring at me. And I'd become mates with him. And I love the Lowry. I think it's a really cool place. So no, I'm very excited about it.
Jolly, who is best known for being the creator of Trigger Happy TV, says his show is a glamorised PowerPoint and wants to share his experiences of travelling the world.
Sorry? that a cycle lane?
Of course it's a cycle lane.
It isn't a cycle lane.
What does it look like?
It looks like a path.
Oh. They can expect the unexpected. They can expect to learn a lot more than they thought they'd want to learn about North Korea, skiing in Iran, monster hunting in the Congo, walking across Lebanon. But it's funny as well. And then also I'm showing probably bits of my favorite show I've ever done that a lot of people didn't see, called World Shut Your Mouth, which had a lot of traveling in it. And it involves me frightening an Eskimo and traveling to all 7 wonders of the world in one trip. It's not very easy to describe as a show, but it's going really, really, really well. And I think it's just a really good, interesting, funny show.
I read somewhere that you attended school with Osama bin Laden. What's the story there?
No, that one actually is true. And there's there's a big bit in the show all about that. So yes, I did go to school with Osama bin Laden, but you'll have to come to the show to find out how that went.
Another comedian heading to the Lowry is Steve Bujega, who is on tour following being a support act for Ian Sterling.
Yeah, it's my brand new stand-up tour. I'm very excited. It's really funny. I went through a big breakup last year, and it's kind of me talking about being single for the first time in a while, and how I'm finding that experience. Turns out it's way funnier being single than it is being in a relationship. Being in a relationship is really boring for a comedy because you're just sort of like happy and stable. I got dumped. What was that? You completely misjudged the tone there. I love the Lowry. I've done every room in there at some point, and it's just. I mean, as I say, I sort of see Manchester as my spiritual home. So it'd be nice to come back.
The variety of shows and events at the Lowry proves why it's the most visited cultural venue in Greater Manchester. Owen Adams, Salford Now.
We hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you for joining us.
And goodbye.
Thank you.